Hey, good morning. It's Wandering Chef Amy here, and I am just checking in with you today as the last day before I go officially live with the cooking segment. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of a background on my experience in the culinary industry, hospitality industry, a little bit of my backstory there. I feel it might be important. Sorry, there's a little gnat there. And so it was 2004, February 7th, 2004 to be exact. My mother, Cindy, and I opened up a little shop in a historic downtown Bloomington that was called Aime. And we started on a little tiny $15,000 credit card. And we grew room by room, adding the most unique items that you could find from the wine. We started with local wines and local artists on the walls. We tried to keep it an Illinois theme, and then eventually we grew into themes of the finer things, we called it, which was all associated with what goes with wine and so forth. So then I started doing some outside catering because I fell in love with cooking. I'd been in the industry since I was about the age of 10. I remember washing dishes, standing on a stair washing dishes while my mama, a single mom at the time, she had a second job as a server at a place called the Parkview Inn. And very near and dear to our hearts as a family. It's still there to this day. Even though it burnt down, it was resilient and rebuilt. But anyway, so it was kind of in my blood from a young age. And from there, I would do, I would bus tables, and then eventually I was old enough to be a server. And I went into the corporate world after I had my daughter at a young age of 21. And so I had to get what they call grown up about my situation, and I did, and I just did not fit in. It was absolutely not me. And I remember my last supervisor, of course, I was always the bad girl in every unit I was in, and getting called to the office. And anyway, that was pretty common for me. But so my last supervisor asked me in one of those little, where do you see yourself in 5 years situations? And I quite frankly said, not here. I had just had it. I just realized it was not for me. Didn't know what was for me per se, but I had my son not too long after that. And after I had him, I went back to serving. And I loved it, and I missed it, and realized that, hey, this is just me. And that kind of led into opening up the shop. We thought we were going to do a tea room, but wound up being a little store. Well, I had been practicing my cooking and so forth, and everyone kept saying, you got to open a restaurant. And so hence back to the catering. So I was doing the catering on the side, and we eventually creatively summons up enough money. And my mama's, of course, she put in a lot of her retirement on this, and there are no guarantees. It's very scary, not gonna lie, and quite frankly a terrible idea to open up a restaurant if you ask anyone who knows the statistics of it, because it's in a high number, like 98% fail in the first year, etc. So very few banks would ever want to deal with you unless you already had the assets for them to take, essentially. So we were never given any money by a bank. And so if you ever plan to make a terrible idea and open up a restaurant, no, I'm just kidding. If you have a dream, chase after it. There's always a way. But just know that financing is very difficult to come by. Investors, they're there potentially, but they typically only want to see you after you've proven that you have potential to be successful. And yeah, that was not a fun journey, but all lessons and all things that you have to go through. I mean, you have to stay the course if you want to get it done, and if you want to see it happen, it requires work. So we worked really hard, and we got the restaurant open. I had been practicing, actually, just trying some new recipes and having some folks sample it and give me their opinions. And I eventually came up with my menu items and so forth. And my mom created the most amazing, she's just a designer by soul, just like I'm a culinary artist. She is a multifaceted artist. I don't even know what type of artist you would call her. If she touches it, it turns to gold. But she would repurpose a lot of beautiful old furniture that she would find at thrift stores, and customers knew that we were looking for unique things. One gal found us these beautiful church pews at a garage sale, and we found all of our Mama found all of our equipment, even our beautiful bar. It was all inlaid wood, for a steal at a hotel that they were tearing down across town. And we had our own fundraising event. We had a lot of events we used to do that were really fun. And so we basically raised the money to expand ourselves, and much appreciation to those customers. Again, I mean, those customers were everything to us. And so we get that open, and honestly, it was so stressful. I was not ready. I don't know that you necessarily ever are ready. You just have to jump into the deep end and sink or swim type of thing, which I now know that I thrive on adrenaline, and adrenaline junkie is good sometimes, but it's not at times where your body doesn't know how to shut it off. The nervous system just stays in full steam ahead. Cortisol levels are awful. And so that is where my anxiety started to go out the roof, and it just became way too much for us to handle. Myself, my stomach issues were becoming way worse. My anxiety was just out the roof, and it became a nightmare. And the balancing act was just beyond difficult for myself and my poor mom. Anyway, 2014 was not a very good year. I wound up in the hospital, yellow as Big Bird, looking like I was pregnant with triplets, and just a multitude of things wrong with me, ulcers, etc. And me pretending that I didn't have the issues and just continuing to push eventually wound up dang near killing me right then and there. And so I went on a mission to heal myself naturally, because none of the doctors were either able or willing, or I don't know what the case was, but no answers were being given. And so I came across this book called Wheat Belly, Total Health by Dr. William Davis, and by Divine Intervention, actually. My story's crazy, but anyway, it'll be in my book one day. So came across this book. I read it front to back within one night, and everything made sense. He goes on to talk about autoimmune issues and how what is happening to our food sources are what is essentially making us sick, and that we are being duped by everything that is fronting as healthy for us on the front. But if you flip it around and read the ingredients, it is a total lie. And so I just was baffled at how much I did not know was going on with what I was eating, thinking I was being healthy. For example, eating the gluten-free products. I thought, okay, well, I know I'm gluten intolerant, so I'll just eat these instead. Must be good for me. No, actually, there's a lot of garbage in that. Or I'll just go vegetarian and eat, veggie burgers and whatever. No, not good for you. And so on and so forth. And so my eyes began to open more and more. And so what I did was completely flip my switch on what I was consuming, and let food be thy medicine. And within a matter of maybe even 2 weeks, there was such a drastic change, not just physically, but mentally especially. I didn't realize what a fog I was walking around in for so many years. And what I essentially did was eat anti-inflammatory foods to put out the fire. The root cause of most chronic disease is inflammation. And that's everything from, autoimmune issues such as what I have, ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel, to skin conditions, psoriasis, eczema, thyroid issues, etc., etc. And of course, with that, weight loss comes. I mean, it just peels right off once your body is in a proper pH balance. And so it was just mind baffling to me as to, just seeing that put right in front of my face made so much sense. And so I, right then and there, wanted to make it a mission to share this information with others. And so from that point forward, I was on a roll. I had actually made my own energy bites. I called it Adventure Fuel, and they're amazing. I did get them on the shelf when I moved to Colorado, but so rewind. I wound up pregnant, and then from there I had to really watch what I was eating even more so, because I was only about 3 or 4 months into healing myself, and the labs showed this too. I'm not just saying physical appearance or how I felt emotionally. The labs, the doctors my doctor at the time was like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Eating real food." And I wound up writing him a prescription for that book. It was just crazy. So anyway, fortunately I had a healthy pregnancy, and then we decided, you know what? We need to remove ourselves from the stressful situation, which, the gut is considered your second brain. And so if that's off kilter, everything's off kilter. And stress for me is a major trigger. Now, I know this later, but so what we consume and put on our bodies has everything to do with how we feel and how we look. That's the long story short of this. And I have taught myself how to take the meat and potatoes ways of what I love, and simply what we love as Americans, and simply take out the bad ingredients and replace them with a better idea or healthier option. And essentially that's what this is all about. That's what the Wandering Shef food segments are all about. I call it Aime, and I don't like the word diet whatsoever. It's not a diet, and lifestyles used too much. I just basically see this as a form of mindfulness is what it is to me. So Aime stands for anti-inflammatory, intuitive, mindful eating. And when I say intuitive, you have to learn to listen to your body. That's number one. After I've been through all of this stuff, so 2014, I was ill, I was better, I had a baby, I got married and moved to Colorado. Everything was great. I was hiking these, 10,000 foot mountains and looked great, whatever, until we moved to Tennessee. And then I don't know if stress started triggering it, or I was using alcohol as a way to put out the anxiety because I was having panic attacks. So I didn't realize what a gasoline I was fueling the fire with that. And so then I'm sicker than a dog and basically given 4 to 6 weeks to live 2 years ago this May. And again, when I decided I had no choice but to take hold of my own body, my own situation, and by the grace of God, I got sent to Mayo Clinic finally. But this wasn't until June that I went there. And so knowing what I know now about what fuels the body in the proper way and versus what is pouring the gasoline on all of your organs and so forth by what we're duped with so-called food, that's actually chemically laden food and not even food, is what got me through, again, of course, God and my angels and all my prayer warriors and so forth, and my donor. God bless my donor. Thank you. And so, but it was what I was eating as well. That's what pushed me through till September the 3rd of 2020, when I was blessed with a second chance. So this is my second chance to share this information with you. And this morning, for example, I know I'm rambling, but I can't help it. There's just so much to share as to why I'm doing this. Before I get into the kitchen, I don't want to tell any more stories about why. I want you to already know. So this morning, I just flipped on the news station to check the weather locally, and it just happened to be flipping on to the Today Show, where they're talking about the highlights of the show this morning, and man, right away it was excuse me. Allergies down here. It was about inflation and how it's affecting not just the gas, but the cost of food, right? I don't care if it's at the grocery store or if you are still eating out, not knowing what you're eating when you're eating out, right? Because it's convenient and it's more cost effective and it tastes amazing, right? Well, what you don't know is what you don't know, and that is what is driving what is set to be, according to reports that I have read, in the top 3 here pretty soon, within the next 10 years, I believe is what it said. The number 3 cause of death is going to be related to fatty liver. And fatty liver turns cirrhotic, just like anything else that causes it, alcohol, whatever. And I was blessed to be one of 8,000 liver transplant recipients in the year of 2020 in the entire United States. So there is a shortage already. Oh, by the way, it was Mayo Clinic also. How could I forget Mayo Clinic? I made it to Mayo Clinic and they found what was wrong with me immediately. It was a rare genetic disorder called alpha-1 antitrypsin. And it can be passed down generation to generation or jump a generation. It can affect your liver or it can also affect your lungs. So basically mine was not able to filter protein, fats, the way that most normal livers would be able to. And so it became fatty liver essentially, and then it became cirrhotic and I was at end stage. So they found that, and then obviously they did their magic. They're amazing. Rochester, Minnesota, if you have something wrong and no doctor is able to help you and or will not help you, because unfortunately, I'm not saying all doctors, the doctors that are still in it for the right reasons are amazing, but if you have one that's just basically not even really listening to what you're saying and you know something is wrong, again, intuition about your body, call Mayo Clinic. I mean, please. Anyway, so I don't even know where I was. But back to the news this morning. So, I mean, I was like, okay, this has to happen. I have got to get on this immediately to share with people, to share with you how you can change your life. You can salvage it, you can flip it, you can change your own DNA by what you're consuming. And you're not going to be missing out on anything. I promise you there will be no deprivation. Will you have to put in some work on this? Yes, absolutely you will. You're not just going to see results, boom. And, you know, a lot of the people that I helped create a wellness company after we sold A. Renee and after I had my baby. And I was executive chef and a wellness coach there. And the most people came in for weight loss. And what they found was once they changed the way they ate, what they were consuming, and their body reset and was in an alkaline mode, and the inflammation was dissipating, that they saw results medically as well. They were able to get off of high blood pressure medication. Their type 2 diabetes numbers just dropped immensely. They, of course, lost a mess of weight, and they were just feeling amazing. Every time you would see them come in, the ones that were putting in the work, now there were a few that's just still expected results without any effort, and that's not life, folks, okay? But the ones that were putting in the work were just so ecstatic that they were feeling so good. And I said this from go about my own personal situation, my own journey from 2014 especially, is that I didn't realize how bad I felt until I felt so good. And that, my friend, is what this is about, okay? So you have to do yourself a favor and write down for a week what it is that you eat. And then once the week is complete, go back in and just skim over it and be like, wow, okay. Is that real food? Ask yourself that. Is that real food? That is the starting point with this whole journey. If you're coming along with me, which I hope to shout you are, and I hope that eventually the end results that I want to see from this is not only that you will find the Aime mindfulness way will not only reset your system and your mind, but it also will show you that the cost-effective time management, deliciousness about this without the chemicals and how your DNA changes. But I want the trickle effect to be people know how to get into the kitchen. They know how to shop the grocery store and look at the ingredients. And they know how to throw down on some amazing quality soul food. And ultimately, I want to see people around the Sunday dinner table, just like what used to be back in the day with grandma's cooking every Sunday after church, and people gathered around that table to share love over that amazing soul food without gadgets, connection, communication, love. And I hope this makes sense to you, but I just had to put myself out there with the why of a really long story. Of course, I'll share some snippets of here and there, but that is why. And, judgment. Okay, first of all, judgment is not allowed here. Negativity is not allowed here. And if you start that game and start to throw shade on anything or anyone, you will be blocked. That's just period. Exclamation point, actually, because this is about being kind and spreading love. So, no, I did not go to culinary school, but you know what? In competitions, I have beat those folks that are actually corporate executive chefs who did go to culinary school. I have won awards. Acclimates are wonderful, but it's actually what I'm about and how my heart goes into that food. Anyone can follow a recipe, but if that recipe is made from a place of love, that's what makes the difference, and that's what makes it taste amazing. So I want you to be able to put your own spin on these recipes that I will share with you. Make it your own and have it be those things that your children and their children will say, hey, do you have the recipe for grandma's, stew or whatever, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to stop right there, but no negativity, please, people. And if you know everything, that's fantastic, but go share it with some other site that's going to want to see all the ridicule. If you have great information to share about the topic, fantastic. I'm all about it. But, I'm not going to sit here and worry about this anymore. Honestly, I was dragging my feet because I know how quick a lot of people are to judgment, and a lot of people are just there to throw, stones at everybody else's home while theirs is made of glass type scenario. And that has to stop. So if you're not here to lift people up, then just please don't follow. But if you are here to receive some information that is all meant in goodwill, maybe it's not 100% correct according to this report or that report. You can Google one word and come up with 80 million different takes on it, right? So it's all about the experience. So when we go along on this and you're following, eventually I want it to be interactive to where I give you the recipe for this and you go out and you buy the ingredients because you know what you're looking for. You know what an eggplant looks like. You know what a zucchini looks like. Jicama, etc. And so then we'll show back up here on a Saturday or Sunday, and we're gonna throw down in the kitchen together. And then that way, you know exactly what you're doing, and it'll be live, so you can ask questions and get the feedback. And basically, this is home ec with a little soul put on it. That's it, home ec. We're going back to school, kids. It might be the first time for everyone. Who knows? But that's why I'm like, this is all age appropriate. Get those kids in the kitchen. Get them off the gadgets. Get them in the kitchen. And I'm talking to my own son. I've already spoken with him about this. He is a pretty picky eater. And, you know, so we've decided that we're going to try new things, and he has been very good about that. But yeah, just tell him, you know, just try one bite. If you don't like it, that's fine. And who knows what they'll wind up liking. And you'll realize that you're a cook after all. And then your bank will tell you so as well. Because I'm going to tell you what, everyone thinks that cooking healthy is expensive. And you know what? If you just buy it outright, it can be. But I will give you the tricks that I've learned and replacements that I've come up with at the grocery store as well. I mean, a lot of people have no idea how to peruse the grocery store at all. And nowadays, especially, you can just go online and pick your own little box of this, box of that, you know, and not even think about anything different because that's what you're used to. You have to step outside of your comfort zone. Nothing will change until you become uncomfortable. And I'm speaking to myself about this right now. And that's what I meant by like dragging my feet, afraid of people judging me. I'm done with that. I'm done. And you should be too. I'm good enough just the way that I am. And you know what? I am proud to share this information. I'm proud that I went through the amount of hell that I did for all those years and chose to pick myself up and keep going. There is so much to be said about experience that a book can never replace, y'all. So embrace your flaws, embrace your past mistakes, embrace where you are right now. The past is gone, the future is unknown, but where you are right now is where you can make the decision to change it all. And so it's up to you ultimately. But I'm here. I'm here for the journey. I'm on my own, you know. I just you know, a couple of videos ago, I revealed that I weighed, 159 pounds. And disclaimer about that, because after I rewatched the video, I was like, man, that didn't sound right. I never meant to say that means I am heavy or that means that I am whatever compared to anyone else. That's just where I am or where I was that I knew was not ideal for my frame. And I knew it was not ideal for me to be in alkalinity. Because if I'm in alkalinity, then those extra pounds won't be there. And I'm still trying to figure out exactly what the situation is because I have yet to have a doctor help me on my symptoms. And so adrenal gland situation, who knows, hormones, I'm at that age, blah, blah, blah. But I never mean anything like directed towards anyone else. So please don't take me wrong about that. If you weigh more than 159, you know what? You're beautiful. If you weigh way less than 159, you're beautiful. Everyone has their own journey. And so this is just speaking from my own personal journey, okay? I just want to make that clear. All right. Anyway, enough, y'all. I'm so sorry to babble, but tomorrow is the big day. I'm going to do a lot about kitchen safety, and I'm going to finally start my first recipe. I'm so excited. Anyway, thanks for listening to me go off on a tangent about a lot of things, but coming to you from a place of love, and we can do this together, one person at a time. And I want you to, you know, when you start feeling it, I just feel a trickle effect coming, and I know this is what I'm meant to do. God specifically said he had mission work for me in my dream. Am I willing to do it? Absolutely. How will I know? You won't. It will just come to you. Well, it's come to me, people. And you and I are on a journey together. I hope you have an amazing day. Thanks for watching.